Hi, Tom Cole for Buckeye Broadband, BCSN, and welcome into another edition of It Matters at Toledo. And boy, I tell you what, it really matters to me today. Again, you get to do this job. It's so cool. You meet so many fantastic people. And I get to talk to, and you get to meet what I consider one of the really great drummers in the history of rock. And he's here in our studio, Mr. Jim Bonfanti. Jim, thanks so much for being with us.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, Jim, the Raspberries. I went to a small school you probably never heard of in Ohio called Ohio Wesleyan University. And I played football there, and I had a bunch of guys that came from Cleveland, you know. And they played football with them, and great guys, some mentor area guys, you know. And they kept telling me, the Raspberries. You got to hear the Raspberries. And I from Toledo, I didn't know, you know.
Sure.
This is when I think you guys were playing the bars.
Probably.
Right?
Probably ranked 70.
Yeah, that's exactly when it was, Jim.
Right. Okay.
So you came to the Toledo Agora.
Right.
And my girlfriend, who's now my wife of, I should know this, Jim, 42 years or whatever. But $2 we got into the Agora, right? And we got a high top table. And we were right next to you guys. And I am telling you, for 2.5 hours, I heard the greatest music I've ever heard. You were basically doing Beatle covers, pretty much at that time.
Sure.
But did you sense the greatness that was there with the Raspberries? Because I'm sitting there with my then girlfriend, now wife, and we could sense it. Did you feel that you're on the cusp of some greatness?
Well, yeah. I mean, well, I don't know if we felt that exactly, but you know, the Raspberries at that time, and we played in bars. We didn't play a lot of bars. And the only reason we were probably at that Agora was because of Henry Lacani in Cleveland. Right. And we had a great relationship with Henry, who really did a lot for us in a lot of different ways. But the whole idea of the Raspberries then was we're going to play as much as we need to support ourselves, because that's all we did.
Yes.
But the real goal for us from day one, when Eric and I first started talking about putting this band together, was we want to make records. We want to write our own stuff. We don't want to be a bar band. We don't want to burn out being a bar band. Right. So anything we learned, obviously, we were pretty meticulous about it. Eric's a perfectionist. He'll debate that with you, but I will debate it back. But he's in a good way.
Yes.
And you know, so you know, we were focused on what the big goal was, but we did have a lot of fun at that time, and I love playing Beatles. I mean, you know, we did a pretty good job too.
You know, that's an understatement, Jim.
We did a pretty good job.
Well, listening to the Raspberries, and I'm sure you've heard this 9 million times, but to me, you were the only group that took the Beatles, the Beach Boys, the Who, and I hear a little bit of the Faces in there, and it's an amalgamation of all of those in certain senses, and nobody else can do that.
Well, and that's pretty close. You know, the Small Faces would be Eric's voice, you know, a little bit of that Steve Marriott, you know.
Right.
And the rest of it is all groups that we grew up on, and you know, before the Raspberries, you know, when Wally and I and Dave were in the Mods, and which became the Choir.
It's Cold Outside?
Yeah, it's Cold Outside.
And for people that don't know that song,
I'm the drummer on that record.
Jim, that's one of the great little rock songs in the 60s ever.
You know, it's funny.
It's Cold Outside by the Choir. It's unbelievable.
It's funny.
And the drumming on it is incredible.
Well, that was my very first studio experience, you know, and all I can remember is the guy saying, "Yeah, you want to play some drum rolls like the Four Seasons, you know?"
Right.
And I'm like, "Well, we don't really play like that." But so, you know, we kind of, you know, did what they wanted us to do.
Sure.
But it came out well. But you know, as far as the mix of the Raspberries, that whole era of music, the Who, the Beach Boys was Eric's influence into the band, because he really loves the Beach Boys. Not that I don't, but
no, I get it.
But the Who, the Beatles, and pretty much all of the British Invasion, the Hollies, and all of that, you know, all went into that, you know, our DNA, you know, of what we were as individuals.
Jimmy, your harmonies. And I know Eric's a great singer. I mean, no one can take away Eric Carmen's as great a voice as there is anywhere, any place.
Rock and roll voice.
Yeah, there's no question about that.
Yeah.
But your guys' harmonies coming in on Eric's lead, the Raspberries' harmonies were perfect. I mean, they were perfect, Jim.
Well, again, we spent a lot of time on working on that, and for most of the time we played, it was just the four of us. So it had to be right, and all four of us sang. I always tried not to sing. I wanted to just play drums. Eric would bring a new song in, and it would be like, we'll do these harmony parts, and Jim, you sing this part, and I'd say, don't you think it sounds really good with that gut strong 3 part? Because I would try not to sing because I just wanted to play.
Yeah. The drumming and singing is not easy. It's not easy.
Just having that microphone there is just
it's not easy.
But we all sang, and I sang where I had to, and again, it was just something that we worked on. And going back to the Agora, one of the things that happened was early on we got a call from the Agora to play there on Sunday nights, which.
Right.
Sunday nights in 1970, there were maybe 3 places to play, if there were that, So at the time, we booked ourselves locally, and I got the call. I did the booking and called up and asked us to play there. They said, look, we have no crowd. The local club that was like a block away, the Plato, was stealing all our people.
Right.
And all that. So we took that, and it was the beginning of a great relationship to the point where we played there every Sunday night. It was fantastic, And then on Sunday night, we would leave our gear on stage. On Monday night, we would come down about 7 o'clock. They'd let us in, lock us in. We practiced all night. I mean, all night.
Right.
From like 7 in the evening.
Is this breaking in new stuff?
We were working on our material.
Yeah.
Maybe learning some new covers, but primarily working on
Your
the
stuff,
first
the
album.
Raspberry stuff. Yeah.
And we did that Monday night and Tuesday night, from 7 in the evening till 7 in the morning.
Yeah.
And then we took Wednesday off, and then we played Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday again. So, I mean, just letting us have that rehearsal space was fantastic. And that, like I say, Henry was one of a kind. So the only reason we probably went to the Agora in Toledo in the first place was because he asked us to, and so we did.
Well, you rocked the place. It was jammed. So that I get your reaction to this, Jimmy. I read an article on Bruce Springsteen recently, and he said when he goes in to make a new record or album, whatever you want to go with, he said, I do one thing. He said, I listen again and again and again and again and again to the Raspberries' greatest hits.
Yeah, it's true.
How do you? Then that's.
Well, here's the deal on that that whole thing. Bruce and a number of other people. In 1970, we formed this band, and we had a mission, we had our goals, and we had all that, and we accomplished a lot of them. Maybe not all of them, but a lot of them. So when the band breaks up, again, it was just like another band that broke up. It was like not anything that I thought, oh. And then, 10, 15 years later, you start to hear stuff about like that. And I actually have a clip of Bruce Springsteen, I think it's in Pittsburgh, in the middle of his concert, stops and talks about the Raspberries and how we were underrated, which I agree, and all of that. And it's kind of like...
Jimmy, when Rolling Stone calls you the best power pop band of the 70s, Rolling Stone, as you know, is not an easy...
No.
They're not an easy nut to crack. And they called you the best power pop band of the 70s.
I mean, Eric and I have had conversations late. I go, it's like it's hard to think that what we started so long ago is still relevant today.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just...
The music holds up, Jim. That's what it is.
Well, I guess...
That's what
it
is.
But at the time, you don't really
you don't
about
realize,
it.
But that's why I said the greatness that you guys... I know you're a humble guy and you're not going to say it, but John Lennon, big fan of John Lennon, and many times he was photographed in a Raspberries T-shirt.
We have that picture, and we actually put it inside of one of the live albums, And that was, in itself, when we saw that, we got that picture from May Pang.
Yeah.
And when Eric got the picture first, and he said, I got to show you. He shows me the picture. It's like, you don't know what to say. I mean, it was like, wow. I mean, I was kind of blown away that, for me, it was like, wow, one of the Beatles, that was like the beginning for so many of us, but for sure for me, knows about the Raspberries. I mean, it's just like, that's pretty cool.
You would love, Jim, being a great drummer that you are. Lennon was, the drummer humor is, it's fun, Lennon was asked, is Ringo Starr the greatest drummer in the history of rock? And Lennon took his glasses off and he looked at the guy that asked him the question. And he said, I don't know. He's not even the best drummer in the Beatles. and Ringo's a great drummer.
Well, oh, yeah.
You know, it's just typical Lennon.
Sure,
you know,
sure.
Ringo's a great drummer.
Yeah,
you know?
I love listening to Ringo's parts.
Yeah,
because that's kind of how I think. You know, that I mean, my style of drumming is probably it's a Ringo Keith Moon combination.
Yeah, and you can hear it.
Yeah, I'm not.
You can hear it.
Yeah, I'm not like all the way either one. But what I like about Ringo Starr is that the parts that he comes up with are so cool.
Yeah.
The other thing that is really cool that I didn't know until like in the last bunch of years, that Ringo Starr is a lefty.
You're right. I was going to say that.
He plays right-handed and a right-handed set.
And it gives you a different sound.
Definitely. And I saw an interview with him, and he was talking about, like I said, it's a good news, bad news thing.
Right.
There's just some things that don't work so
can't
well
play it.
because you lead with a different hand.
That's exactly right.
But on the other side of that, you know, it does help you create, because you lead a different way, a different sound.
Yeah,
and I've never had a problem playing his fills
Yeah,
because I didn't realize
at the time.
Yeah, we had the same thing going on. Yeah.
But Jimmy, I want to take you to now. You've released a CD called Pop Art.
Yeah.
First of all, the packaging of it is extremely cool. I love the packaging. Is it 28 songs?
28 songs.
28 songs. It was 2004 Cleveland House of Blues.
That's right.
That show sold out in what, 5 minutes?
Something like that.
4 or 5 minutes. 5 minutes it was sold out.
Again, we were blown away.
Matter of fact, the young man who runs the House of Blues, I taught and coached him in high school and coached him in football. Anthony Nicolaitis.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, he's a good buddy of mine.
Oh,
he's the greatest guy in the world.
Is he still in Dallas?
Yes.
Oh, cool.
He's the greatest guy in the world.
Yes, he is.
Wonderful man. But this CD, congratulations, because every rock magazine I've seen, every music magazine I've seen said this CD is incredible. It's captured the raspberries. The sound mix is perfect. And a number of them said, Jim, that this is going to be the best live album of 2017. How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel really good. And I mean, you know, the whole idea of this CD came from friends of ours in New York and New Jersey, Bernie Hojay, Tommy Allen, you know, our manager Al Caston. They all kind of got together because when we played that first show, we recorded it.
Right.
We didn't have a plan. You know, actually we recorded that show, the New Year's Eve show, and the Scene Pavilion, all recorded, and just figured we should, you know, and we did. And I've had those drives with those tracks upstairs in my closet all this time.
Oh my gosh.
And Bernie and Tommy got the idea, you know, we should maybe do something with this. And so I got them out, sent everything up to Tommy. We didn't tell Eric. Eric had no idea this was happening. And so what Tommy spent is probably close to 2 years. In his spare time, he would mix a song.
The mix is great.
It's
incredible.
He would send me the song.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'd tell him, well, you know, we need a little more of this. And we went back and forth with every song. And when we were just about done, then we let Eric know. Because obviously we all have to know, but we wanted to kind of get it done first.
You wanted to have it right before Eric listened to it, kind of?
Yeah. And we weren't sure how he would react.
Sure,
but we completely left him out of it, and he liked it. And Tommy, I mean, really just did an outstanding job. It also helps to have a drummer mix to drummer.
Right.
You know, that was good for Jim.
You know,
that was good for Jim.
You know what goes where and why.
So that's kind of how it happened. And so the initial plan was to just self-release it. We were just going to make it a digital download. We figured the people that came to the show might want to have a copy, kind of let's do that with it, you know. So then it started sounding way better than we figured. And so we got a couple of offers, and Eric got us hooked up with Omnivore, and I really like them. They've done a great job with promotion.
So Jimmy, how do people order it? They want to get it. What's the best way?
You can get it on Amazon. It's on iTunes. I guess
they
have it.
Any of the normal places.
Yeah,
that you
I would think Barnes and Noble have it because they sent us some reports last week. So yeah, it's easy.
28 songs.
28 songs, and the best part of all of this is that in November they're going to release this on vinyl.
Oh wow!
Three vinyl albums with some bonus tracks that are not on the CD from those other shows, a couple songs.
Jimmy, on the way out, is there any chance? And I'm sure you get you know the question I'm going to ask, and I'm sure you get. Maybe you don't get tired of hearing it because it's a compliment. It's a great compliment. Is there any chance of you guys getting together, doing some new music, and maybe do a mini tour? It just seems like, this music, it never ends, and the appreciation for it never ends, and it seems kind of a shame that you can't give a few more new music opportunities.
Well, sadly, the answer is probably not.
Okay.
Okay. For a lot of reasons. I mean, honestly, when Anthony called me up that day and said, "Hey, we're opening up this house of blues in Cleveland, and we'd like you to open the place," I said to him, like, I don't know about that, because at the time I wasn't sure if it could even happen, and it did, and we had said many times.
Did you guys have fun, Jim, when you got back together?
We had a great time.
But then does the fun wear off and the old stuff comes back?
That's what happened.
Okay.
I mean, for really most of all we did. I mean, it was really fun, and certainly that show at the House of Blues, that first one, and I would say pretty much all of those shows, even going into 2005, it was great. We had excellent backup musicians. We called them the overdubs. Was Paul Sidoti, who's with Taylor,
right.
Billy Sullivan and Jennifer Lee. We added them in because, we realized, first of all, some of the vocal parts that we did on the records, there's only 4 of us.
Right.
And, you overdubbed vocals, you had extra guitar part, all these little parts. And we just thought, if you're going to compete now in 2000, you have to up your game a little bit.
Yes.
So adding those 3 folks was fantastic for the whole thing, because, they contributed a great deal. And, but even that part of it, because they all have their music life, and everything worked. Everybody was available, and all of that kind of fell together.
All the planets were aligned.
They were definitely aligned. And if it were to try to happen now, none of that could happen. So, I mean, and it's pretty well. We've had our problems, like most bands.
Anybody who's been in a band, Jim, relates to what
the band I'm playing with now in out in Lake County, Abbey Rodeo. They're like my wife said, they're an anomaly. I mean, they've been together 14 years. I've been.
They all get along.
They get along. I mean, it's like not natural for me.
Jimmy, I was with the band. We lasted 3 months.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I thought it was 3 years.
Yeah.
I tell you what.
Yeah. 3 months, like 3 years.
It was
Absolutely.
like 3 years. They were like dog years. It was only 3 months.
Yeah.
Jimmy, you are one of the great drummers, and I don't say this lightly. You are truly one of the gifted drummers in the history of rock.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
What you've done, and your mates with the remarkable Raspberries, and the indelible mark that you've left in music in the 70s, as Rolling Stone said, and appropriately so, you're the best power pop band ever in the 70s. And again, Rolling Stone's they don't throw out compliments.
Now, if somebody from the Rock Hall could just kind of understand it, that would be pretty cool.
On our way out, we should get, and I don't know if this is true, if it's true, somebody told me that you guys were asked to do the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame pre-show.
We did. That was the last show we played.
You did the pre-show?
Yeah, we played on Friday night at the Rock Hall.
I had a business associate that was there, and he said, you got everybody who's anybody in music and the performers. He said the Raspberries blew the place away. They said you tore the roof off the place. Yeah. So, we're going to hold our hopes that maybe someday, Jim.
I hope that if that could happen, that could be, and I say could, the next time we play.
Okay.
Let's hope.
Jimmy, you were great.
Thank
a real
you.
gentleman. Thank you for what you've done for everybody in music. We sure appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right. Tom Cole for It Matters in Toledo.